call on those two yet?
You know, Hugh was working through it. I know he's working through it today. He had them both in there, and I think competition's always good. I think the more you can have that at every position, I think the more it puts attention to detail in every guy and an urgency in every player. So they definitely have it, and they feel that, and they'll step up. They'll step up to the occasion, and they'll probably both have opportunity to compete.
We talked to him about it yesterday. From your perspective, your history, is it pretty unique to have a situation like that where you're rotating offensive linemen out of choice because you feel like you have guys who can play?
You know what? Not a little bit, but not really. Like we've had that before in the past. I do think it's nice for young guys when they get a chance to see it. You know what I mean? Sometimes the vision can get narrow for a young guy. Like they'll just see what's right in front of them, and you get a chance to step away from the field and see a series, and then get back out there. Sometimes it opens it up for them, and I think being able to do that has helped the guys early in so far this season, and I think if there's chances to do it based on our health, I think we'll continue to do it.
Do you think that can motivate some of the younger linemen who say they can see a guy like Jared and say, well, there's a redshirt freshman he's earned his spot and he's playing. The coaches aren't just going with 5 and that's it. They can kind of motivate those guys a little bit, the younger guys.
I think you talk to them always about fight for your role, earn your role. You know, whether you're guys that if guys show up showing the ability to do something and being able to be effective, we're going to find a way to get them on the field and help them to do that, and it includes the O-line.
And it helps these guys are your future too. Jared and Dorian. I mean, Dorian played last year over some older guys. Jared's playing this year. You know, these are guys who are going to help you down the road, not just now.
Absolutely. But if they weren't ready, you wouldn't put them in those spots. So both those things, working for you is a good thing.
And is that also kind of one of those things where you have Gabe, by not naming a starter, but having him work this week, having Alex work, that's what, let both guys compete and then figure out, is that kind of falling along those lines?
I think it's important. I couldn't tell you who was going to step up to the occasion. Like, this is an opportunity for someone really to grow and kind of, you're the center. You're going to have to communicate. You're going to have to step into that role. You're going to have to know it. You're going to have to put in extra time. It gives an avenue for either one of those guys to truly step up, and hopefully both of them. They'll be better for going through this. Obviously you don't want to lose Artie. He's a big part of what we do. But those guys need to step up into that role and do a great job, and we believe they will.
Will you consider rotating them too, since you're already rotating people in the line?
I think that's a real possibility. Depending on how this week finishes out, we wouldn't be against it.
Through the first 2 games, Chad hasn't really had to do too much since he's been running the ball so well. Do you feel like that, he's still ready if a game comes where he's got to throw it, maybe 25, 30 times instead of the 20 times he's thrown it the first 2 games?
Yeah, I think so. I think, in there are different opportunities. Some of the third downs he was in last week, you're in the heat of it. You got to make decisions. You got the ball in your hands. And so he's been in it, not a ton of opportunities like that. As those grow, I feel like he'll do a great job. And it's fortunate that you've had opportunities to kind of get through the first 2 games and not put a ton of those on his plate. But he's responded well. He competes his tail off, and can't seem to think why he wouldn't be the same.
Matt commented on the work ethic of some of these guys yesterday from the defense. He used the word infectious, and he used an example of Ray Vinipal Sr. taking a guy like Reggie Mitchell under his wing. What instances have you seen on the offense? Maybe an older player taking a younger player, watching film, something away from the field, maybe that's
you know what? I think it's a really nice nucleus of older guys. Guys have been through a lot. Guys like TJ and Vanessa, like their stories are more than just growing up in a position. Guys that truly finally found the role and wrapped their arms around it and made it theirs. And I think it goes across that group. That senior group has been through a lot to get to this point, and I think watching them be here and watching them the way they work, obviously there's something about them that they're here and they're grinding through, and I think a lot of times it's by example of that group, and they do a great job of making sure the younger guys kind of adhere to that, and I think that young group has a little edge to them too, so I think they complement each other really well.
Back to the centers making the calls.